Hey everybody, Cliff Barron from Remax here with my evaluation for Milton, Georgetown, and Glen Williams, March 7th to the 13th, 2021. I got something for you. If somebody in your neighborhood has sold their house and you're curious about what it sold for, let me know. Okay, but anyways, apart from that, I got a story for you. I said last week I'm going to start doing stories every week about, I've been in this for a long time, and I see so much. So here's a story for you. And it kind of applies a lot now, because of the situation with tenants and landlords and all that sort of stuff. So a true story, I'd say about maybe 8 years ago or so, I had some clients, good clients of mine that have bought and sold through me, with me throughout the years. They decided they want to get into the investment game, so they wanted to buy a property for investment. They wanted to buy it, rent it out, watch the equity grow, and then over the next 5, 7, 10 years, whatever, sell it. So they bought through me. They bought a nice semi in Milton. And they said, okay, Cliff, we want you to lease it out for us. Usually when you lease with an agent, you get better quality tenants. That's why they wanted to go with me instead of like putting it out on Kijiji or something like that themselves. But my job as when I lease a property is to promote it as best I can. And I promote it everywhere online, including Kijiji. I put it on Kijiji as well. The only thing is with Kijiji, it's funny because I didn't notice at the time. This is a while back. Scam artists tend to take those ads and duplicate them and publish them as themselves. So I listed the lease, the property for lease, and I think it was maybe $1,700 a month, something like that, back then. Probably about 24, 25 now, but and I'd say within about 3 days after listing, and I was getting inquiries, I was showing it, that sort of stuff, and 3 days after, 3 or 4 days after I listed it, I got an email from a lady. Or was it a phone call? I can't remember if it was an email or a phone call, but she basically said, hey Cliff, I've been talking to the landlord and he said to me, I have to talk to you to get the keys. And I was like, what? That doesn't make sense. So it was email, I remember that, it was email. So I emailed her back and I said, that's interesting, who's the landlord? And she said, his name's Mike. And I said, that's interesting too, because there is no landlord named Mike, that's not their names. So I dug a bit deeper and I said, what have you been communicating with the landlord? And she said, well, basically, the landlord said to me, I don't have to see the property. Just send over a $700 Western Union transfer, basically, to secure the property. And she said it's listed for $1,200 on Kijiji. And I said, that's crazy. $700 was the deposit. And she said, I have to work on this really quickly, otherwise I'm going to lose it. And I said, hold on a sec, you're being scammed. You're completely being scammed. So it turned out he duplicated my ad. He posted at $1,200 a month, and it was a Nigerian guy. I didn't know that. She told me later on. They found out it was investigated and everything. It was a scammer. He was doing this with multiple different ads. People would send over their $700 deposit and never see anything, never hear from the guy again, and that was it. So if you see something, moral of the story, if you see something listed on Kijiji for lease and it's really cheap, it's a scam. Anyway, and be careful on Kijiji. There's a lot of scams in other departments too. Okay, that's my my lease story, the least of my lease stories. But anyways, getting to my stats for Milton, Georgetown, and Glen Williams for March 7th to the 13th. I'm going to do Milton first, and it's busy, really, really busy again. Still busy. It's starting to you can kind of feel it starting to, get to the max in a way. Check this out. Two-story detached homes. There was 40 sales, which is a lot, a big volume. 1.328 on average. That's a huge average. 40 sales on that average. That's massive. And then when you look at the split levels, back splits, that sort of thing. 3 sales, 897 on average. Townhouses, 31 sales, 869 on average. They're approaching $1 million. For some reason I didn't do semis, but I'll do that next week. Condos, we had 11 sales of condos of 580 on average of a condo. That's way higher than Mississauga, way higher than Oakville too, believe it or not. Condo townhouses, 3 sales, 710 on average. And then, so in other words, the market's still good in Milton. Getting to Glen Williams and Georgetown, and I've never seen this before in that area, in Georgetown and Glen Williams. The average for 2-story detached selling 1.385. And there was no large, Glen Williams homes or rural properties that sold for $2.5 million included in those stats. 7 sales, 1.385 on average. And it's funny, like I was telling a client, about last week that I sold a house in Georgetown in October for I think just over $1 million. That same house now is 1.15, 1.2, believe it or not. It's gone up that much since October. Townhouses, there was 2 sales, 755 on average, and 1 sale of a semi at 965, which is huge. That's big for Georgetown. Anyways, any questions, let me know. And like I said earlier, if there's a sale in your area you want some info about, just send me an email or a text, email, phone call, whatever you like, and I'll get that for you. And I'll talk to you next week. Have a great week and stay safe.